talking The Haunting of Margam Castle. This one is directed and written by Andrew Jones, of course, a very prolific, low-budget British horror filmmaker, of which I have reviewed quite a few of his movies. So here we are in a classic ghost story. Now what we have here, a group of parapsychologists from America come over to the UK to investigate this particular castle, which is a real castle here in the UK. And they're there to basically try and get some kind of like interesting headlines to ultimately promote their university. So a team of 5 of them come to this castle in hope of capturing some type of evidence of the paranormal. They're of course warned off by the locals, as they, so often are in these sort of films, and of course there are real ghosts within these walls. What will happen? You have to watch the movie to find out. Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, what works with this movie. There's an interesting dynamic in regards to the cast. This actually has quite a few older cast members in there. And I have to say, I really enjoyed their performances. Like, we have the kind of the caretaker, so to speak, of this particular castle. We have this kind of medium that kind of comes in to kind of help with the investigation, and her kind of like friend who is, I think, the point of contact for this group. And of course Carolyn Munro in a very small role where she literally talks about cheese on toast for about 3 minutes, and that is the extent of her role. Yes, really. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed these actors. I thought they all did fantastic jobs and quite believable performances, I have to say. These are thespians. I think they did a good job, considering obviously this is a very low budget, probably quite quickly shot film. But I really enjoyed them. I also think the setting of this castle, it has actually been featured in a number of kind of like most haunted type kind of reality shows. It's a good idea to have for a setting in a particular kind of horror movie. And of course there are some, it takes advantage of some very nice location shooting in regards to these kind of the gothic hallways and kind of stuff like that. And the idea for the movie, I would say, is okay. It's an okay, serviceable script in regards to the history about what's kind of happened there and the idea behind it. And I actually quite liked our group of, or at least our main 2 kind of parapsychologists. These guys had quite a good chemistry, and the acting wasn't too bad. It doesn't work, unfortunately, as is the case with many of these kind of quickly made low budget films, and particularly British films. I always find that the attention to detail is lacking. Now, this particular castle is clearly like an open tourist attraction, but we're led, I think that the movie doesn't explicitly say it, but we're kind of led to believe this is sort of a castle that is no one goes near, and this is how the sort of story presents itself, the castle to us, that no one dares go near the castle for fear of, paranormal entities and stuff like that. Yet we clearly see like modern parking spaces outside the castle. We see fire exit signs. We see alarm panels, things like this. Obviously a very well kept and maintained interior of the castle. Yet the movie kind of wants us to believe this is a castle that people don't go near because of fear of the unknown. There's just not that attention to detail. People won't notice that. It's fine. That kind of like quickly shot films, I tend to find have these very much like, it's fine. People just paper over the cracks, things like this. The internal logic of the film, I'd say, is somewhat lacking. The doors kind of get locked behind them, yet no one attempts to try and find, a fire exit where there's clearly fire exit signs. Apparently this castle's only got one door. No one attempts to break a window, things like that. I mean, I guess they can't because they're in a listed building or whatever, but there needs to be some type of plot point to address the fact. And then when the only other exit is this hidden passageway and all of this. And it's just like, this is a big place. There's going to be more than one exit, even if it's through a window. The movie also has a few flashbacks which I felt slowed the movie down. And the movie's already pretty slow, let me tell you. I didn't think it was necessary. I actually think it kind of showed you too much in regards to the paranormal entities. It kind of gives like a little bit of a backstory to kind of each of the ghosts that are there. And I suppose you could argue that rather than having exposition, they will show you a flashback. But I didn't think you needed any. I think you could have. It would have had it takes away some of the air of mystery. And the problem is these flashbacks, the way they're shot, they just seem too modern and things like that. So it kind of, again, it takes away from the mystique of what could have been. The scares themselves, unfortunately, when we got our ghostly attacks, we just see someone sort of pop up behind and then, put their hands around strangling someone. It really doesn't seem too spectral, if that makes sense. And the overall production just seems to be fairly kind of rushed, but the pace of the film seems fairly slow as well. Okay, so I do think this movie has got some interesting performances in there, and the castle itself, despite I think it clearly being like a very well used public building, is kind of ill portrayed as this seemingly abandoned castle, which I think I had a little bit of a problem with, but it stands to be somewhat of a kind of an average forgettable film, probably slightly below average, but I will give it a 5 out of 10. Purely because I really enjoyed some of the kind of the older actors. I thought they did a good job, and I really enjoyed their characters, in particular the spirit medium, who I thought was a wonderful character and portrayed really well there. Don't go expecting it. Lots of Caroline Munro scenes. Like I've said, she's literally in one sequence, purely talking about cheese on toast. I'm not even joking. So 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.